Murray, one small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
Send in the clowns.
Gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. This time we're doing a review on Joker. Probably one of the most controversial movies that has released this year. So we're gonna give you our thoughts. First we'll rate the movie, and then we'll jump into spoilers. Give our thoughts on why we rated the movie the way we rated it, and All right.
Sounds
So, initially, after you watched the movie, I'm asking this specific question because, I know that your ratings changed over time. So when you initially watched the movie, what was your rating of it?
When I initially watched it, I was giving it a very solid 9 and it's a solid 9, 10 out of 10.
Okay.
And then the more I sat down, and I feel like it was like that high, you come out of watching a movie,
Yeah.
but then you think about it and you realize it's pretty garbage, or like it's not that great. It's not that
Okay.
great. And
Okay.
yeah, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, interesting. And I don't know. I'm like, I guess maybe you'll understand. I'm also having difficulty like giving it a rating now, because you'll
Okay.
you'll understand what I mean. But
I feel like once they jump into the actual meat of the review, we maybe after that you'll be able to give it a fair score.
yeah, and so when I finished like thinking about it, which was what, a day-
Yesterday?
yeah,
No, the day
yesterday.
before?
Yeah, but like,
Day-
okay, when I stopped thinking about it, like when I'd come, or like got another high, thought about it, the rating I landed on was on 5 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So as of now, you're at a 5 out of 10.
I'm at a 5.
Okay. I personally think the movie is like an 8, 7, 8 movie. There was a few things that I didn't like. There were a few things that I like really enjoyed. But we can now get into the spoiler stuff. So initially, my rating is an 7, 8. Yours is 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so spoilers. Now, if you haven't watched the movie, stop watching. Go watch the movie if you want to. Let's get into it. Okay. Why is it a 5 out of 10? I'm
So-
genuinely curious now.
Okay, let me tell you why. It's
Let's hear
okay,
it.
First of all, like, let's talk about the fact that it's a Joker movie. It's based on the character Joker, and everyone's like, this is a revolutionary comic book movie. It's changed how comic book movies work or whatever. But
Okay.
if you think about it, all like the revolutionary comic book movies, okay, involve comic book material. But this movie had none of it. None of the characteristics of a comic book. And the reason that I told you, that was a thought I had, and that led me down this spiral. And that thought was when you walked out of the movie, like we were walking home and everyone was like, like, I didn't know that was in the comics. And I was like, oh no, it's not in the comics, He just came up with this and they just came up with that. And then I realized that if I think about all the really good comic book movies, like The Dark Knight, Logan, Endgame, like Endgame took comic book material created a movie, and yet they're mediocre, or you can say that they're just like, how do you say it, like they're pastime films. Like there's nothing incredible about them. They don't say something incredible. But if you think about it, Endgame can or Infinity War can be considered like something that changed comic book movies, because they took like 10 years of movies and they combined it into a solid film with a bunch of A-list actors. But Joker had nothing to do with the comics. There was nothing about the Joker, like, and that was another complaint. Like when Phoenix, was incredible, right? I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but yeah, he was incredible. Like nothing to take away from him, but he wasn't a Joker. The Joker in the comics is this like cynical mastermind who, like the different, and people compare him like to the Heath Ledger Joker, right?
Right. Yeah.
And Heath Ledger's Joker was appreciated because it was such a good representation of a comic book Joker. They took they took components of a comic book like Batman, Joker, and they brought it into real life, into this real amazing story of like these two, like, people going head to head and Joker trying to outwit this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he was successful, and that's what people appreciated. He was so fucked up, but he was so methodical and smart, like the Joker in the comics. This character was none of it. He was just lucky, and he was just impulsive, and he just did things because he wanted to do, and that's not the Joker.
But isn't that the whole point of the movie? No, like don't you feel like because this is an quote unquote origin story, of like you wouldn't get him, like you wouldn't get Joker to be the way he is portrayed in the comic books as like a cynical mastermind.
Yeah,
from day one.
No, but
like I feel like it shows his development to get there, because then at the end of the whole movie, when they show the scene in the hospital, it kind of feels like he is like that, where he just fucking kills the psychologist.
You see, but that's
who's trying to help me.
Exactly. There was nothing methodical about that. That was just killing someone because he was impulsive. Right. That's not the Joker. That's just a crappy representation of the Joker. Like him being wild, erratic is not a Joker. Like him being this like wild person that's unpredictable isn't the Joker.
But I feel like this was just, as much as I agree with you, I feel like this was a movie, like even if you didn't read any comic books or anything, you could just go in and watch it because it had nothing to do with them.
Yeah, but then that's not a comic book movie. That's just a movie.
You have a problem with this being represented as a comic book movie.
Yeah, like how you say like
because because the only thing that they have going for them is the character.
Yeah. And like it's a Joker movie, right? Take the Joker out of it, it's Taxi Man. It's just another Martin Scorsese movie.
Okay.
Like Taxi Man has the exact same plot, exact same things happening, about this man who's being like driven, bad things keep happening to him, and they've put the name Joker to it and like try to pull it off as something unique when it isn't. They have nothing about the Joker. All of it is different. Thomas Wayne.
Okay,
like
maybe.
Thomas Wayne.
Maybe it's not a revolutionary comic book movie.
But it isn't a comic book movie. Like you remember we were having this discussion, right? That was like, oh, is it a good Spider-Man movie, or is it a good movie but it's not a good Spider-Man movie?
Right.
Yeah, I would say this is you see, that's the thing. It's not a good Joker movie because it has nothing to do with the Joker. Like, just because you put on clown makeup doesn't mean you're the Joker. You have nothing representation. Call yourself.
But the thing is, like, how can you show that? How would you be able to show that within the time span of that, including the whole developmental story?
That's what makes a revolutionary movie, right? Is that you're able to take such a difficult thing and put it in a movie. Isn't that what
No,
makes
it's
it?
not. I wouldn't say a difficult thing, but like just considering the runtime of a movie, how would you get to the point where now Joker is a cynical mastermind,
Okay.
including all the shit that he's like that
Yeah,
leads up
but
to him being
literally,
like that.
there was nothing in the movie that gave the depiction that he was smart in any way. Did you
Fair
think
enough.
anything that he did had a pattern? You know, had this like thought process. He just did things because he wanted to, and he got
Yeah.
caught. Like at the end, it was like they created this
He
whole
got
scene, of him like orchestrating all these people in the streets, and you thought like that would. I thought that would like lead to something else, like him going underground, but he just got caught again. Like
Yeah.
he's not the fucking smartest. He just and I will say
He just does
he
shit.
just does shit,
to do
and
it.
that's not a Joker. Thomas Wayne is a jackass. That's not Thomas Wayne. Nothing. It's a completely separate movie. It's not a comic book movie. It's not has none.
It's just a movie.
You just can't make a movie and then say
Okay, so what you're saying is it suffers from the typical DC bullshit where they take a bunch of characters from the comics and then they just they twist it around and make it so that it's not an accurate representation of the heroes in any way.
I just feel like for it to be a revolutionary comic book movie, it has to have some components from the comics, which it doesn't. And if you take out the name Joker, put in a regular character, it's a ripoff of Martin Scorsese films, which they drew inspiration from. But if you watch Taxi Man and stuff, you'll realize how heavy the inspiration is.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, like it was a brilliant representation of like mental illness, tiny things like him having like anxiety, so his legs were shaking. Those shots were incredible. Like people don't realize those are the tiny things, And the representation of it, the acting of it was incredible. New York City itself looked incredible.
What do you mean Gotham?
Yeah, Gotham. But yeah. Gotham looked incredible, like the set they created.
Right. It looks like a shithole when it's supposed to look like a shithole. Like before it was okay, and then at the end of the movie it just turned into a shithole, which everyone knows it is a shithole.
And there are a lot of things, and there's some problems and then like I started to read more, and people found like no problem with, for example, him at the end like conveying everything like that had happened to him before he shot Robert De Niro, right? Like he has that whole monologue, and people are like that's pointless because we just watched the whole movie. But that's not the thing. He's trying to make a statement on live TV, and people on watching the show in the movie haven't seen what happened to him. So he just can't kill someone, and that's just that I thought that was like a pointless like criticism of the film.
Yeah.
And some like the train shot where like the people die, like look at all of that. He was just lucky. He was just running away, and I don't get that. Like, he wasn't a good Joker. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Putting on clown makeup, calling yourself a Joker, doesn't mean you're the Joker. There's certain things that come along with being the Joker. And I guess like there were some nice nods where in certain comic book versions, Joker has like this, like he falls into the vat of acid that forces him to constantly be smiling. This time he has a neurological condition that always makes him laugh, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was so devoid from the comics that I don't think you can call it a comic book movie or a good Joker movie because it was completely original. Also, Todd Phillips really agitated me because like I was reading and he said that he made this type of movie because he can't make comedy movies anymore in this culture. And I feel like that's a complete bullshit statement because there are enough comedy movies and comedy shows that come out which are pretty funny. So, you're a fucking idiot, Todd Phillips. And I remember he tweeted that, and someone gave him like a list of like 50 shows and movies that have come out that have been hailed as really funny. And then someone was like, if you do, just because no one wants another Hangover 4 doesn't mean that people don't want comedy movies.
Right.
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And
I
again,
feel like that's a fair enough criticism.
yeah. And
I accept it.
also feel like, yeah, some of the, the more I thought about it, the ending went on for too long. Like, what was the point of him killing that psychiatrist? Like, what was
No, that was just that ending shot was just bullshit. They should have just ended with him doing the fucking key pose on the taxi when everyone's just cheering around, and that would have been a better ending to the film.
Yeah.
But the whole psychologist scene was stupid because he's like, oh, there's like Bruce Wayne now and all that shit. But I was like, what? This is not a fucking Batman movie. Just let it be.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't thought that point.
But I guess they have to stuff that shit in just to remind everyone that this is a comic book movie.
Yeah, but again, for example, you know how Spider-Man just didn't do the whole, like, Uncle Ben dying. This movie didn't need to do the whole Bruce Wayne's parents dying. Like,
Bruce Wayne, the whole
if they
was just
literally
silly.
just showed like them walking down an alley and cut away, fine. You know, you could say like, oh, that's kind of a pretty good shot because you already know what's gonna happen. They don't need to show the whole thing.
Yeah.
But they did the whole fucking thing with the pearls and everything, and then Bruce Wayne standing there.
It's really long.
And I remember watching this video, and someone put in like a cut-in one, like they were doing Easter eggs. And he was so mad about that he compiled like a whole montage of how many times we've seen it. And at the end, I agree with him. It literally just takes it, like, you don't feel anything in that scene anymore. It's you're just indifferent to it. Like, it invokes none of the things it's meant to evoke because we're sick and tired of it. So I guess my final like comment is like, it's not a revolutionary comic book movie because it has.
It's not a No, I would agree it's not.
It has no components of the comic book. Take away the Joker, it's just a rip-off of. It's very heavily inspired by Taximan, so you could even say that there's no originality there either, and. But I will give it that it is a very good representation of like mental illness. You know, the signs, the struggles.
Yeah.
This very, I guess it was a good look. I wouldn't say it's like a brilliant, amazing look, but it's a good look. Also, everything was super choreographed. Like everything was super foreshadowed. Like the mother.
Like it was predictable, basically.
No, yeah, because, for example, the one scene that actually, like, for example, like, you know when the mother goes into the bathroom, right? And she's like, when he finds a letter, and she's just like, I don't want to talk to you when you're angry, you know? Like, I don't know what you'll do. And I was like, he's going to kill her eventually. Like, something's going to happen and he's going to kill her.
Yeah.
And it was a very good twist. Like, I thought the whole Bruce Wayne and Joker being as much, like...
half brothers.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Like, I thought that...
Technically half brothers, even though he was adopted.
Yeah, I thought that was, like, pretty good. Like, I thought that was a very interesting thing that I've actually never seen before.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a very good part of it.
I thought the scene that was, like, completely unexpected was when he went into that the woman's house, that woman's house, and she didn't even know who the fuck he was. She thought he was... she knew who he was, but she was like, you're the neighbor, right? And then they show you the flashback, and it's like he just hallucinated the whole thing.
See, even that I felt was okay. It was a pretty good reveal, but again, I felt like, you know, when he walks into the comedy show, right, and he does the whole routine, it sounds like it's going so well, right?
Yeah.
And then when they show it on TV, it's not. No one's literally laughing, and that kind of like makes you think, wait, did that actually even happen? And then it makes you question that woman really doesn't know him because she's like all proud of him and stuff when it didn't go well. You see what I mean? Like, there are these things that kind of give it away.
there was, I mean, if you're really attentive, so now that we've mentioned it, and if someone goes and watches a movie for a second time, and then that hospital scene plays again where, he's watching the TV and no one laughs at the joke, but then that the woman who he's apparently dating, the neighbor, she was still with him at that time apparently. So you can just tell that, wait, if no one laughed, then why did they show that she was laughing? Which means that either A, he fucking made up the entire thing in his own head, or B, she just laughed at him instead, not with him.
Also, there was this criticism that like the whole scene, like when they were together, it was like kind of okay, but like when you realize he's making it up, and like he goes into the thing, it kind of gave like incel vibes, like and
I don't
think that's
I don't think that's I don't know why that people were like, this movie appeals to incels, when they really didn't. Like, it's not that he couldn't get a date, it's just that he didn't try.
And also it's really stupid, and that like everyone's like, oh, like we'll do the shooting, like shootings are gonna happen or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, the media is literally pinning significance on if like a shooting happens because of this,
They really want
like,
one. They really want
are creating
someone to dress up as a Joker and shoot up a place.
They literally are creating an environment where they're trying to like convey this message that if a shooting happens now, it would be of significance, and if that doesn't encourage someone to go shoot up a school or like whatever, then like you're the reason that people are like, oh wait, people are into this Joker movie,
because you're giving them like attention,
and you're like if people do a shooting during a Joker movie, it's going to mean something more, kind of that vibe. So it's just going to motivate people, like the Joker movie is not going to do anything. You giving it significance and saying like, oh, if someone did a shooting now, that would be like, wow, the media is just stupid about it. But the representation of mental illness and stuff was incredible.
I think that's why I thought that you would enjoy it because of that.
No, but that doesn't mean it's
and
a
you
good.
did
Like,
enjoy it because of that.
okay, but like, just making a movie dark doesn't make it good. That's the thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's
introducing
fair.
like, and if you think about it, like,
what do you think they could have done differently to probably make it better?
That's
a hard question. But because we're not expert film writers, but if there was one thing that you could have changed in the movie that would have made it slightly better for you, what would it have been?
I guess like something that kind of gave off this vibe that he was still, I guess, like there was still some
I guess maybe make him more instead of him just winging shit, actually make him like plan out something.
Exactly. Like there should be like some thought process. Like things just aren't happening because they're random and unpredictable. Like there's a sequence of events,
Yeah.
Like after it would be like interesting to see before after he shoots up, there's like 3 people in the subway.
Yeah.
Then he starts thinking about the impact he's making, and he's trying to think about how to make a bigger impact, like what to do. But he just literally just soaks it in.
But he's like, no, I'm not political about anything. Like fuck that.
and the thing is, he's given him attention, right? But he doesn't do anything with it. He just and then they completely move on to him trying to find his half brother. But if there was a part of him that was
that's what I'm saying. The whole Bruce Wayne shit was a little bit not neat. It was completely unnecessary.
But I still appreciate the originality of it.
Like, it was a nice twist, but fucking Bruce Wayne didn't have to be there. Maybe the whole Thomas Wayne thing was fine, but Bruce Wayne didn't have to be there.
Even the Thomas Wayne thing was ditched.
It's weird because because the Joker in this movie is 30 years old, and Bruce Wayne is a fucking 10-year-old kid. Just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and you know what, you're right, like, if they just removed that whole Bruce Wayne segment and kind of showed this, like, slow descent into madness.
It would have been fine. Like, you know that the when he went to the house and stuff like that whole scene could have been removed.
Yeah.
It's completely pointless.
Yeah, they spent, like, 30 minutes, like, I guess, I mean, he could have found out a lot quicker. Like, you know, they could have just skipped that whole, like, I want to see Thomas Wayne, and just
Yeah.
go straight to the gala. Like, that's just like 15 minutes of, like, stuff just removed. And I feel
Yeah.
like
And it would still
Yeah.
make sense.
I thought if they showed him becoming the Joker and, like, him planning shit out, you know, him saying that killing these 3 people made a difference, I'm going to show
Mm-hmm.
more of it. You know, I'm going to show that we can't be taken lying down or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that would also have made, like, the rioting a lot more believable. Like,
And have like a lot more
yeah,
consequence.
like, him doing more stuff that's, like, making people be like, yeah, you know what, I support him or whatever. But he killed 3 people and then, like, people just start rioting. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, no, the escalation happened
Yeah.
really quickly, and it was over 3 dead
yeah,
dudes. That's
like,
it.
I get it, like, he did something, but show him doing more, you know, show
But
him
like there
planning
was
shit
no,
out.
it was like that was like I get it. So he just what he did was he collected, like, this is a really weird analogy that I'm gonna put out, but what he did was he collected wood and everything, and he like that, like him shooting the guys was him collecting wood, but then the riot started and you're like, wait, how the fuck did
Yeah.
the fire already start? You know, it went from him collecting wood to the fire in like 2 seconds. There was no like increase, like there was no spark, there was no fuel, there was nothing to make that like to build up to that fire. It just started and you're just like, wait, what?
Yeah, show some progression.
Over
No,
over 3 dead dudes. I feel like, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Maybe instead of like doing the whole fucking Bruce Wayne shit, they could have, like, you know, made him be more I guess more political and
Just-
and try have a higher influence on
yeah,
how the
if
things
he's the Joker,
how things are
if he's the
going.
Joker, show us him becoming more like the Joker. Like, him
Yeah.
sitting in his apartment painting his face is not him becoming the Joker. Him becoming the Joker is him realizing what
Yeah.
he's doing has a significance to it. Him doing it more. Him finding out how to do it more. Him finding out, like, you know, what I have to do. Like, do I have to kill this person to start it? But he just started a riot because he killed 3 people. And the whole Thomas Wayne stuff was also just like, they brought it all up and then boom, they just dropped it, and then you just don't see Thomas Wayne. Like, he's like,
You just punched him in the nose and that was it. That was
and,
it.
like, I get it, but, like, what's the point of Thomas Wayne being a jackass in this film? I absolutely don't get it. Why does he have to go around and, like, I guess that fueled it, maybe, that
I guess it was
some fuel.
him being a jackass was like, oh, well, you rejected my love, Dad,
No, but, like,
for the second time.
I guess it fuels a little bit, like, you know, people, him being like, oh, everyone else needs my help or whatever and stuff, which kind of maybe
Yeah.
justifies rioting as well. But then, like, they just dropped the whole Thomas Wayne halfway through and they just moved on to something
Yeah.
else, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I guess we're not going to see him again.
Yeah.
Like, he never.
I mean, yeah, now that you say it, there was a lot of inconsistent, like, not inconsistent, but there was like a lot of pointless stuff. Pointless stuff. B, like, they just pick stuff up and then drop it anywhere, and then they just kill fucking the Thomas Wayne at the end, and just like, wait, what? Again, unneeded.
And, like, the riots, okay, the riots had already, if I'm remembering this wrong, before Thomas Wayne made his comments, had the riots already started? Like, people had already started wearing the Joker masks and everything, right? Like, as soon as he killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, fucking who? Yeah, there's so many things that, and again, like, the movie is heavy. Like, it's very heavy, and
Yeah.
also
It's very
yeah,
emotional. It has a lot of triggers
and
as well.
When I say good representation of mental illness, I mean like, you know, the subtleties of mental illness that no one sees. But the things that he did, like killing his mom, or like, they weren't like over the top, like things that were like, wow, he just did that. Like, people kill their, like, you know, parents in movies all the fucking time. Like their bad
Yeah.
mom. And like, he killed.
I think the one that was like, wow, he did that was when he actually shot fucking Murray
But
Franklin. You're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and even that, like,
Because the whole time you're expecting him to, like, you know, fucking blow his brains out because that's what he was planning to do. But no, instead he just shoots the guy and then he shoots him 2 more times for good measure.
And I guess like that, yeah, and I wasn't 100% sold on that. And the point where I actually considered, like, when they showed him doing it, I was like, he's never gonna do that. He's gonna shoot Murray. But the point where I was like, okay, he might shoot himself is when he like stops in that passage and he's like, you know, hopefully my death makes more sense than my life. And I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, maybe he's going to like shoot himself. But I also thought like he would shoot Murray and then shoot himself or something. But he just shot Murray.
That would have been insane. Like, he shoots Murray and then that would have actually been insane. But I don't think they could just kill off a character.
Exactly. But like, nothing he did was super wild. Like, he killed the person who bullied him at work. Yeah, like, it happens. Like, it's been shown in tons of movies, you know, people just killing. Like,
Yeah.
fucking Fargo, man. Like, he kills his bully, or he sends someone to like brutally murder the person who bullied him. He's all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something wild. Like, they didn't do anything that was like, whoa, they went there, you know? They fucking did that.
Yeah.
There was nothing like that. All the shit they showed was there. What I mean was like the subtleties, like the small, like, you know, traits that people have in mental illness and stuff. How they think,
Yeah.
how they suffer. The whole part of like medication, them not being able to access medication, how it helps. Even like, I thought like it's a very common thing where people on medication experience very horrible side effects. And when they stop, they feel a lot of fear. And when Joker comes in, he's like, you know, fine. Also,
he's like, I feel a lot better. I stopped taking my
also
meds.
before, if someone listens to this and is like, no, you're wrong, that's wrong. No, I've studied this, so I know what I'm talking about. Please don't message us and being like, no, you're fucking wrong, because I think differently from you.
Yeah, you don't know
Yeah,
shit.
like, I'm not saying shit out of my ass. Like, I actually studied this, and side effects of drugs are very strong. Like, you know,
Yeah.
they like got, like, I guess if you haven't watched A Beautiful Mind, then you'll know how horrible side effects can be, and they feel a lot of fear when they're not on drugs. And there's like a clarity of mind because medication can cloud your mind. Yeah. So please, if you
Yeah.
just think a different thing from me, doesn't mean you're fucking right. So, yeah, the subtleties I really enjoyed, but it was
Overall,
it was pretty
very
meh.
flawed.
Yeah, it was pretty meh. Like,
Okay.
there was nothing
Okay.
so wild about it.
That's fair enough. I still okay, maybe after that I think it's like more 7 than an 8. But yeah.
I think there was a lot of
Overall, I did enjoy my experience because I thought it was a good movie. Some of the shots that were in the movie itself were pretty good. Like the shots where it's just him. Like those are really good. Like him either walking up the stairs, walking down the stairs in his apartment, just him. Like they were really well framed and stuff like that. The music was really good. Like you can see the, I guess I think the music was the most accurate representation of what you would be looking for. Like before it was all disorganized and random and shit like that, but then at the end it's all very loud, and then like you can make sense of what the music is, you know. But yeah, overall I think it was fine. It was a little bit long. There were parts where they could definitely have shortened it. It was sometimes very slow.
no, I can appreciate I can appreciate slowness, and we discussed it, like slowness can have a good effect of like build up. Like for example, Blade Runner, So I guess
Yeah.
that's just a difference of opinion. Also,
Yeah.
if you follow a woman around all day and she comes to your house and she's like, "Are you following me?" And you're like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Ha ha ha, that's pretty funny." That's the least believable shit.
None of that
That's the
happens.
least believable
None
shit
of
ever.
that.
I don't. The only solace that gives me is I now for no sure, like I know for sure now that John Phillips has never followed anyone home. That's the only good thing because, yeah, fuck, like some of it was so bad. I actually, the more I think about it, the more flaws I see, and like, yeah, I definitely don't think like it's a 10 out of 10.
That part was stupid. Like she said, "Hey, have you been following me all day?" And he's like, yeah."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Wait, are you gonna rob the place?" She's like, "Hey, I might bring my gun. I have my gun next." She's like, that's so funny."
You just
Like, bro, what the
she's
fuck?
just like, "You followed me all day and you're threatening me with a gun." Comedy.
Totally not creepy
That's-
at all. Like it's excusable. As long as you're funny, it's excusable.
And
Oh, that was
okay,
bullshit.
and honestly, yeah, no. And again, okay, I'm just gonna keep finding more like things that don't make sense. The way
Okay, I think
hold on. This
you know what, we've ripped on this. You ripped on this movie enough
Okay,
for
wait.
now.
I have one final comment.
Yes.
Who does he? He kills the 3 subway people, and I can believe it.
Yeah.
That like whatever, like there are no cameras or something, so I guess whatever. But the detectives who already knew had like the biggest suspicion on him was like, "You don't want to answer it right now? Fine, go away. Make sure you don't murder anyone else while we let you go." Like, I don't understand. When like
Yeah, make sure you don't murder anyone else. Calls two random dudes two dudes from his work and kills one of them with a fucking scissor in his own apartment.
and yeah, that's what I mean. He was not the Joker.
He was
He
just
was-
stupid.
This movie had nothing to do with the Joker because there was no Joker in it. It was, yeah. and it's so stupid, like and it reminded me of Mindhunter. How I was like, why did they do that, right? And in Mindhunter, which is around the same period, right? They saw a suspect and they took him in for questioning. But this guy was like, "I'm not gonna answer your questions. Screw you. I'm going into the hospital." And like, "Good on you. Well done. Go away. Yeah, go." It's so convenient. It's so convenient. Like,
Yeah, it just
it's-
happened. Yeah, I
and
guess so.
you should watch Tech.
Which also makes it very
Yeah.
predictable as
Yeah,
well.
that's what I mean. Like, go watch Taxi Man. Like, take
Okay.
the Joker out and go watch. Like, just go watch Taxi Man and you'll see what I'm talking about, I guess. But yeah, I would still stick with a 5.
All right.
Cool.
All right.
I thought I would convince you at least to go down to a 6. But
No, so I think it was fine. 7. The cinematography and the music was really good for me, I think, and the acting, he carried the acting really well.
for the acting, I would
The acting was
phenomenal. That
Yeah.
was the most incredible part of that film, is how well he acted.
like how well he sold it. Yeah, I think it warranted a 7. There's a lot of silly shit. Now that you pointed it out to me, but yeah, still think it's a 7, which is not bad.
But yeah,
Um,
for a Joker movie, I don't think I could ever give it a 7.
Yeah, all right. That out of the way. Thank you for listening to our review on the Joker.
Please,
Final
please
verdict:
don't hate on me. If you
7 out of 5, 5 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 5 out of 10. Would you recommend someone to go watch it?
yes, I would still.
Okay. So even though you gave it a 5 out of 10, you still
I
recommend
guess
it. Same. I would.
I guess I also appreciate the whole aspect of people realizing that tiny things
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
still a very good representation, Like, it's a very real
Yeah.
world look.
Of stigma and all
Yeah,
that.
like how important medication is, like medicational policies, like healthcare in general. Like all those things are handled so well. So I would still recommend it. It's still very informative in a lot
Very
of
well.
ways. So, and if you shut off
Okay.
your brain and just think about it, like then you can enjoy it.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.